update, all right? So a racist individual who punched a black child gets a light sentence. Put it up full mass. The story is going to make your blood boil. We have an update to a story. The white Washington man who decided to punch a black child in the face after assailing him and using racial slurs in front of the cops has received a light sentence for his hate crime. White male who punched a young black child in the face in a racially motivated attack last summer has been sentenced to more than 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to felony charges, including a hate crime. Paul Jonathan Bittner, 43, pleaded guilty to second-degree assault of a child, and commission of a hate crime. That is supposed to be your enhancer, okay? That's according to the Bellingham Herald. Following an assault he committed on June 12th of 2024 in Washington. Authorities say Bittner, who is white, started walking alongside a group of students and teachers from Whatcom Middle School who had just finished a field trip in the downtown area. According to court documents, he walked directly in front of an 11-year-old black student, a child, then suddenly turned around and punched the 11-year-old black child in the face, chipping the child's tooth in the process. He then allegedly asked the child, quote, "Are you going to talk to a white man like that?" End quote. The child told police that he believed Bittner targeted him because of his race. After Bittner was taken into custody, he continued making racist remarks, repeatedly used the N-word, and made references to assaulting even more black people. He initially pleaded not guilty. Okay, so in August 2024, a judge determined that he was not competent to stand trial after he underwent a competency evaluation in which a doctor diagnosed him with bipolar type schizoaffective disorder. He was ordered to receive 90 days of inpatient competency restoration treatment at a state psychiatric hospital. He spent more than 5 months at West State Hospital. So the senior deputy prosecuting attorney, that was Benjamin Pratt, said Bittner showed a substantially different temperament during his sentencing hearing than he did initially following his arrest. So judge sentenced Bittner to 41 months in prison, followed by 18 months in community custody, a form of supervised release in which an offender must adhere to court-ordered conditions. He is also under a no-contact order with the child for 10 years. Potential restitution is possible in this case. The child's father stated he was pleased with how the case ended. Quote, "I'm feeling good," the child's father said, Mr. Devontae Blow, told the Bellingham Herald following the sentencing. "I'm feeling as if justice was served and the community is safer." All right, so let's unpack this. Initially, when all this happened, all right, there was this proclamation of racism, mental health. Mental health was carried to its, let's just say, maximum level, meaning you get every benefit of the doubt here. All right, there's an issue, you have a diagnosis, you're bipolar, and you have a schizoaffective dynamic. Now, let's go to the court of law. The court of law says a mental health diagnosis does not necessitate, does not mean that you are unaware of right and wrong. If that were the case, you would virtually have no one in the city of Atlanta incarcerated right now, okay? Because if you go there, you will see clearly a whole lot of folk have diagnosed mental health disorders, and that's why they're typically arrested in the first place, crimes of survival, etc. So the court has upheld this standard. The court. What determines if you knew what you were doing is right or wrong? Generally speaking, you're able to articulate what you did is right or wrong. Or you try to escape consequences. For example, are you guilty or not guilty of said offense? Well, not guilty. Typically, that means you're attempting to escape the consequence of alleged action, which means that you believe, or at least have some knowledge, that the alleged action is actually wrong. That is the standard of the court. Now, you may argue that standard, but that is the current standard of the court. Okay, all right, Jordan. This also is, it's a microcosm and macrocosm here. There's some type of mental something happening, all right? I don't disagree with that. But at the same time, this individual was allowed to approach a group of children without the benefit of whatever help he received after this to calm him down in that particular court hearing. Why wasn't that help provided to him prior if this is a mental health dynamic? And beyond that, you still have a child who has been significantly damaged. I mean, psychologically, more so than physically. But psychologically, this child is going to remember for the rest of his life. At 11 years old, a white male came up to me, punched me so hard that it chipped my tooth.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I could summarize it better than you.
Yeah.
But this is tragic. And like you're saying, where were these resources? If this is a problem, where were these resources before? And you could talk about how we would be better off if we did reallocate local, state, even federal funding into programs that do proactively assist people before a scenario like this. I'm certainly in support of that. We could do a better job of reaching out to people, finding people who might need assistance, all that kind of stuff. Totally on board, but I don't know if I'm totally convinced here that this is justification for a lighter punishment or being let off the hook, however you want to see it. If while in custody was talking about harming Black people, Black children, recognizing what he did. So yeah, we can't underscore enough the long-term consequences for this child that did nothing to deserve this, warranted anything. And now you could see trauma later on in life. I mean, this, for someone that young to endure something like this, it might permanently alter this kid's perspective. And I hope that they are able to find the resources that they need to have a healthier, happier future.
That's right. Well said. And the mental health dynamic to the child is my primary concern. And I hope that whatever happens in this child's future, that you're able to utilize this, and speaking to the young man directly, able to utilize this to be a catalyst for transformation, rather than someone who internalizes it and believes it was their fault, because it wasn't your fault at all.